morning, Taste Buds. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein, and welcome to Taco Saturday. Today I've got 3 tacos that you may have eaten before, but that you've probably not made before. So stay where you are because it's taco time here on SoFlo Taste. How fun is that? Welcome all to SoFlo Taste. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein here in the Goya kitchen at J World in Coconut Creek. Who doesn't know that tacos are easy, versatile, and really, really good? Answer is nobody. We all know that. So today I thought it would be fun to give you my recipes for tacos that are easy, versatile, and really, really good. So let's get cooking. The first taco I wanted to make for you is a shrimp taco. I'm kind of changing up the way I'm making my shrimp taco today. Instead of making crispy fried shrimp, I'm just going to saute them and toss them in a chipotle sauce. Let's go ahead and heat up a little bit of oil and just get to work. The one thing I was looking for when I was coming up with this taco recipe is crunch factor. So we're going to find crunch factor in 2 things. One, we're going to make a little simple cabbage slaw just by squeezing some fresh lime into some shredded cabbage, as well as adding a little bit of salt and a little bit of fresh cilantro. All right, salt, and then mix that up a little bit, and that's going to go onto our tacos. The next thing I thought about is chayote. This is a chayote, and it is a type of a squash. It's good in so many things, and I feel like it's underused. You'll always find it at the local supermarket, and it's delicious. So try some chayote when you get a chance. It's really good. It has a little sweetness to it. I'm going to start by cooking the chayote first, and then we'll add the shrimp to it. For the sauce, we've got a little bit of sour cream, tiny bit of mayonnaise. These are chipotles and adobo. It's from a can. The adobo is the sauce. So you add some of that sauce. Careful, it's a little fiery, but it's really good. And mix that in. I'm going to add just a little pinch of cumin into that. And again, salt. Okay, let's check on the chayote. So we have these gorgeous shrimp. These are called pinks because they're beautifully pink and they're local from Key West. And these come from Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Everyone over there wanted me to let you know that Rosh Hashanah is starting tomorrow, so hurry into Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Get everything you need for your celebration. It's coming soon. SoFlo stone crabs, yay! Go to DelawareChicken.com, call 954-983-6831. Or just go visit them and take it all in because there's so much to take in. Let them know I sent you. They are there to just make your life so easy. Okay, so chayote just needs a little toss, and I think we're good. It just takes a couple minutes to cook a chayote. Next thing we're adding are the Key West pink shrimp. I'll throw them all in. The only thing we need is a little bit of salt. Let's start warming up our tortillas. These are just simple corn tortillas that we have purchased. This is a good hot cast iron pan, not burning hot, just warm. We're going to go ahead and warm up the tortilla on both sides. All right, so I love this part of cooking. This is called mise en place, when you make sure that everything is in order and everything is organized. So we're going to flip our tortillas. All right, shrimp are just almost done. The one thing about Key West pinks is they look done, but they're not completely done. So you have to make sure that they're fully cooked. Okay, tortillas are ready. Let's place those down on the plate. Shrimp is ready. I'm going to add them to the chipotle sauce. Mix them just a little bit, ever so gently. And let's go ahead and place the shrimp and chayote down on the tortillas. We have that beautiful sauce, those crispy chayote texture. And then of course finally we've got some of our cabbage slaw for the top. What a fun way to start our taco day. Nothing better. More of my taco explosion after the break, so come right back.
Come back to the Goya Kitchen at J.A. World, Michelle, and the food. This is SoFlo Taste.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. By the way, I'm here at J.A. World in Coconut Creek, an educational place for our kids that teaches them about business and the economy. Get to know them at jasouthflorida.org or call them at 954-979-7100. They always make us welcome. Now back to tacos, tacos, tacos. I was trying to think about a breakfast taco, possibly egg. Then I really wanted to go more veggie side, so we all decided on tofu tacos. Don't let them fool you. These are going to taste crazy good and they're going to make you very happy. We are going to first start searing the tofu. This tofu has been pressed with another pan and let all the water come out of the tofu. That's really how you want to cook tofu anyway. And we're just going to go ahead and start searing the tofu in the pan. I'm going to go ahead and salt it. Now we're going to make a little spice mixture here, but we're going to add it to water and then we're going to do a little reduction in the pan. So I've got some cumin and I have some turmeric. And I'm just going to mix that up a little bit with some tamari or soy sauce that is gluten-free. Let's flip our tofu. It's already become nice and golden. And if you start seeing a little bit of water spitting out of the tofu, it means that it really didn't press long enough and maybe heavy enough. All right, so let's start breaking this apart because we are going to pretend that we're making scrambled eggs. So we want this to be the same kind of texture as scrambled eggs. Really keep mashing it up. Once you've broken it up enough so that it starts resembling sort of a scrambled egg texture and size, we'll go ahead and I'm going to add some julienne shallots, a little bit of the white part of the scallion sliced, and cook that in there. And we really want to start softening those scallions and shallots, just like I would in an omelet. I'm going to go ahead and start heating up my corn tortillas. The last thing I'm going to add to this that's a vegetable is a little bit of very finely chopped kale. Just a little bit. Make sure you season that. We don't want it to wilt too much because we want a little bit of that texture. Now we're going to add in that mixture we had made before with the tamari and the cumin and turmeric and water. Not only will this add flavor and umami, it's also going to make it look a little bit more like scrambled eggs. I'm going to go ahead and shut the heat off. Let's get our tortillas down. Scoop a little bit of, it looks so much like scrambled eggs, it keeps wanting me to say it. The scrambled tofu into the center. And this is so yummy because it has the sweetness of all those shallots and the spices and that kale in there. So good. Let's go ahead and spoon some aguacate. So a couple pieces of avocado right over the top. And I think this is a pretty handsome breakfast taco, if I say so myself. Come right back for another of my tacos recipes. And remember, all of my recipes are always available on the SoFlo Show's webpage. Just scan this quick response code. You'll be whisked off to the SoFlo Show's page. It's also on our ingredient list throughout the show. Now remember, if you want a specific recipe, there's 3 little lines up there on the left. Just hit those, type in what you want to see, and you will find it. Come right back because of course I have more, and I left this best for last. Steak tacos. We'll see what's cooking on SoFlo Taste right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste, and today I am all about the food that already comes wrapped, and I've got one more. Steak tacos. Let's really make the ultimate steak tacos. But before I jump into that recipe, I want to do another recipe. This is a really beautiful red salsa. It's going to take us a little bit, so I want to jump right in. So we've got some plum tomatoes, jalapenos, dried chile de árbol, which is a little bit spicy, garlic, and tomatillos, which is going to add a little bit of acidity. I'm putting all that into water, and we're going to bring that to a boil and let everything soften for a couple of minutes. I'm also going to add to that a little bit of cumin, ground cumin, and some onion. Let's jump into the steak. Obviously, the steak comes from Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. It's a beautiful New York strip steak. I decided that I wanted to crust it with a little bit of dried chilies. So I've got dried ancho and dried pasilla chilies. And what you do is you take these chilies and you dry them in a nice dry pan until they're good and roasty and they smell beautifully fragrant. And then you let them cool a little bit, and then you basically seed them and put them in a spice grinder and grind them, and this is what they turn out to look like. It almost looks like ground coffee. So I've got these two chilies, and these 2 chilies are not spicy chilies, which is why I love them. It's a mild to medium heat, but they're just delicious. So I had this idea. Instead of cooking a whole steak, I thought, why not cut the steak in little strips, and that's gonna hold the spices even better. So let's take the strip steak and let's cut it in half lengthwise. That would be a butterfly. And let's go ahead and julienne the steak. Let's get rid of any excess fat, although I love it if I'm eating a whole steak, but not when I'm eating a taco. All right, so let's cut this in small strips. And what's great about this, we're not marinating. We're just really seasoning heavily. It's almost like a cure, but not so much. So let's take those steak strips, add both chilies to it, salt, and a little bit of black pepper, and really mix them up in there. I'm heating up a cast iron pan, and right before I cook that, let me tell you a little bit of what we're doing here. I have, to cool your mouth down, something called a crema, and this is an avocado crema. So we took 2 avocados, a little bit of sour cream, some water to loosen it up, and some cilantro and lime and salt. Pureed it, and this is the beautiful crema that it became. And I love that crema on everything. For Zach, my son, I had to give him a little something, like I always do every show. We have to do something for Zachy. So I took his favorite Dorito. These are the Cool Ranch ones. So we crushed those up, and those are actually going to be a garnish on our tacos. Then I've got a little salsa using some little tiny grape tomatoes, cilantro, and onion. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of lime in there, some salt, and add a little bit of good olive oil. And then we have a good fresh pico de gallo, without having to cut up the tomatoes really tiny. So I'm gonna go ahead and start heating the tortillas at the same time as cooking the steak. I've got some canola oil, flavorless oil, because you don't want to add anything with too much flavor. The olive oil is going to break down, so we're not going to do that. Let's add the steak to the pan. Let that sear a little bit on one side, and then we'll flip them over. Flip your tortillas over a couple times. This reminds me a little bit of the coffee rubbed steak that we did on this show a few months ago that was just delicious. This is going to be, like I said, a very fast cook. I'm shutting the heat off. All right. Put your tortillas down. I like to hold it down with something, so I'm going to hold that steak in with our avocado crema. Put the steak right down on top of it. Now, if you'd rather use a filet mignon, you know, they've got everything over at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, so you can have a little fun with it. Okay? The pico de gallo, using our grape tomatoes. And this one is for you, Zachy. A little bit of crushed up of your favorite tortilla chips. And there you have it. Beautiful. Wow, these are beautiful steak tacos. So when you come back, I'm gonna go ahead and puree that sauce, and then we're gonna cook that sauce. So you don't wanna miss that. See you in a few. SoFlo Taste will return right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste and our show all about tacos. And I promised you a salsa, and I'm going to give you one. So let's come over here. Again, these are jalapenos and tomatillos and tomatoes, chiles de árbol, a spicy dried chili, but also jalapenos, and a little bit of onion and garlic. So everything cooked for about 8 to 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and fish everything out and place it into the blender. If you need a little bit of liquid to blend, if everything gets kind of stuck, you can always come back here and take some of this water and add it into your blender. If you put your nose in here, it smells like salsa. It's so crazy. So I'm going to add a little bit of cilantro to that, some cumin, can't forget salt, and let's blend it up. Okay, one more step. Woo, woo, oh man, woo, that chili, delicious. Okay, take a pot. This part you have to be really careful with because this has a chance of really splattering and hurting you. So let's add some canola oil to that pot. Let it get a little bit hot. So when you make really good salsas from Mexico, you always do the pureeing method and then you fry your sauce. We even do that for ranchero sauces. You always want to fry your sauces. It builds flavor and character in the sauce. So let's go ahead and take this. Told you it would splatter. Okay, we're just going to cook that down for about a minute. I'm going to stir it around a little bit. After it cooks down, what you want to do is shut it off and let it cool completely to room temperature. Let's pretend that it did. Then you're going to take a ladle and go ahead and take that room temperature. Remember, we're pretending this is room temperature. You're going to take that and pour that into a ball jar, cover it, and go ahead and put it into your fridge, and it will last you for weeks and weeks and weeks, and eat it on everything. Thank you so much for joining me today. For many of you, tacos are nothing new, but I hope that I did give you a twist on the tacos you prepare regularly. And for those new to these wraps of flavor, please try them. You will love them too. All your life, you've thought that pasta sauce should use tomatoes. Next week, I'm gonna burst that tomato bubble. I make pasta sauces without tomatoes. Sorry, Chef Boyardee.
Hey there, Michelle. Tomorrow, we head to Legacy in Wynwood to meet with one of their trainers who shows us how to do an effective exercise that can be used as the warm-up or the workout. Plus, a local family foundation is hosting a golf tournament to shine some light on suicide prevention.
See you next week. Goodbye, mwah, and good taste. Let's give them something to taco about.